What's going on, everybody? It's another week of Quest Podcast. We got a special guest today. I'm gonna go ahead and just let him come off, right at the beginning. Don, let him know.
Well, we started.
It's the Don Chin Chin the Chin. What does Xbox say? Chin
The
Chin Chinchilla.
the pink chinchilla.
Yeah, it's the
No
Don.
one really could do it the same as Xbox. So I'm not going to
Yeah,
even
no.
try.
No.
But no, yeah, it's been a long time in the coming. I don't usually have Thursdays off. I took this week off for the release of the X, just so I can play some games and things like that instead of just make them. And I realized I had today off. You guys were doing quests, so I hit you guys up because I promised I would hit you up as soon as I had a day off. So here I am.
Right, we're glad to have you, man. We appreciate you keeping up with us. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody know we have a new permanent member, the Quest Podcast, and as I like to call him, Leo, but it's really Yukon Cornelius. Tell him what's up, Yukon.
Hey, it's me, Leo, aka Yukon Cornelius, depending on who you ask and who's getting mad at me using my real name or not. And the myth, the legend. I'm over here chasing Chivos and running my mouth, so it's good to be a permanent member, and let's get into it.
Wait,
Is he
the only member of this podcast that's clay animated?
That's me. Stop motion.
Yeah.
Stop motion all day.
All right, cool.
All right, and the usual suspects, Remix.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Glad to be back for another week. We've got some good stuff to talk about this week, so can't wait to get on into it.
And Artemis.
What is up, everyone? Glad to be here tonight. Glad to have the Don on, and also absolutely happy to have a fourth member added to our little family here. So let's get into it, man.
Yes, sir. First, I'm your host, M Bangs 99. Let's get into it. First, we're gonna talk about what we've been playing. I'll let Don start off. What's been playing, Don?
You gonna put me on the spot already?
Yes, sir.
So, I think just like a lot of people that are diehard Xbox fans, they've been waiting for the Xbox One X to show up. That showed up to my house yesterday, and then for whatever reason, I had to re-download all of the 4K enhanced titles. For whatever reason, wouldn't just do the patch. So I haven't got a chance to play a lot of them, but I've been mostly playing the enriched titles, so like Gears, Titanfall. Titanfall 2 actually looks phenomenal on the campaign right now. Things like that. So just kind of just seeing what it does in the wild now. So.
Okay. You didn't have an external hard drive? It didn't go
I
ahead?
did. Oh, I do. I definitely do. So it's all they installed. All the patches were confirmed. Then I unplugged everything, wiped my S, and then put my X in, and it registered the game was there, but instead it had to do an update. I'm like, okay, it must be a little patch, and no, it just decides to reinstall the whole entire thing again.
Dang, that's slow.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue was at. I heard a couple other people had that same issue, so just kind of rolled with it until it all installed. So I really got more of a chance right now to play with it today than I did yesterday. So, but if you just let it do its thing, it'll fix itself, and you'll put some bandwidth in the meantime. So,
right. All right, cool. Remix, what you been playing?
Yeah, man. Finally been able to get around and play a game. I was gonna say some games, but a game. I've been playing some of that Call of Duty World War II, man. I've been having a good time with that, so we'll get on into that in a bit. But yeah.
All right, cool. Leo?
I've still been grinding away in Assassin's Creed. I'm kind of sad that I missed the event this week because I've been too busy on the side quest to actually grind out the levels, but it's still a good game. I just got Call of Duty World War II today, playing the campaign on that, and then I was screwing around on King's Tale of Final Fantasy, like a prequel to a prequel. It's just a for because I'm always hunting them Chivos.
That's what's up. All right, Artemis, what you been playing?
Says it so. Like, Artemis, what are you even playing? I've been playing Assassin's Creed, man. I love this game, man. It's so good. And then And then I've been playing Call of Duty. Been grinding away trying to get that trying to get to the prestige level, so I can prestige at least once. Because I always like to prestige at least once in COD, so definitely.
All right, so for me, I've been playing Zelda, of course, but then I got the X, and I turned on Assassin's Creed, and I only meant to play the first portion because I wanted just to compare the upgrade from the S to the X, and I wound up getting stuck in Assassin's Creed. So now I'm playing Assassin's Creed. The game
Can't
is
leave
great.
that shit, man.
Yeah, no, the
Can't
game
leave it.
is a really, really good game. I played a little bit of Call of Duty, and let me see. I tried Halo 5, the multiplayer.
Ooh.
That thing was really good on the X. Really good. My mouth dropped when I got in that multiplayer. And then also Battlefront 2, which looks so good also. So that's about it. So I guess we'll move on, get into these topics. And first topic of the day is Assassin's Creed Origin Impressions. So I've played it. Yukon, you played it. Artemis has played it. Don, have you played it?
Actually, that's the game I've been playing all day today. So yes.
Okay, cool. And Remix,
early parts of it. So
Remix, we know you haven't been playing it. So I'm gonna start.
Man, Remix don't play games.
I'm gonna start off with Artemis. What you think so far, man?
Dude, let me just tell you right now, like, this is probably my favorite in the franchise, honestly. I mean, and that's come like a lot from me because I'm so in love with the second one and Brotherhood. So, I mean, just this game has really impressed me a lot. I feel like it's definitely kind of Witcher-esque and Horizon Zero Dawn-esque, but I feel like it's got a lot of the Assassin's Creed mojo in it. And I just oh man, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody because, like, in the beginning for some reason, like, for me, it hooked me right away. As soon as I started playing, like, just the scenery, the way it plays, I just loved it. And of course, I reverted back to the to kind of the old way of doing the combat, and I kind of went into the settings and changed all that because I didn't like how they had it now where you have to hit LB and RB, and I didn't like that, so I reverted back to the alternate way.
Yeah, kind of Dark Souls play controls.
Yeah, I didn't
like those either.
I didn't like them, so I just reverted back to the old way of doing it, which you can do, and it actually it makes the game even 10 times better because it feels like Assassin's Creed at that moment. It doesn't feel like Dark Souls or anything like that. It feels very Assassin's Creed, and I just can't get over how many reviews have been out there that have been bashing the game over its bugs and things like that. I haven't run into that many bugs, man. Like, I don't know about you, Leo or Don, but I haven't run into anything like that. I mean, I ran into one bug where I was on a hippo and it would just glitch out my character. He was just standing up there and I couldn't get off the damn freaking hippo. And then that was about it. That's the only glitches that I've come across at all. But story-wise, the story is it's awesome. And then the side quests are even better. Like, this time around, they just have more depth to them, and I never feel like I'm doing a chore or anything like that. And I just love the game, man. It's so good.
Okay, when you change the buttons, what happens to your dodge button? Does it stay the same, and you just get
the dodge button still stays. I think B, right, is still the dodge button.
If I remember correctly, yeah, it's on the face.
Yeah. So what becomes the attack button? Yeah.
X is the attack button, and then Y is the heavy attack.
Okay. So I mean, okay, right
It just
now
reverts. It reverts back to the old style of Assassin's Creed. This
okay, right now the way I have mine still set up, because I'm gonna go in and change mine just like you did, because I didn't do that. Right now the way it's set up, X is your dodge button. So when you change it, X becomes an attack button.
Right, and then B becomes the dodge button.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But what about
so
what
like
happens
a normal third person type of game, you know, with the
Okay, so those RB and RT that you're using to attack now, what do they become? Is it the Eagle Vision?
Actually, I think they're I haven't actually even utilized them. Actually, I don't even think.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge, I don't think they're even utilized at that point.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I had mine. Well, we'll let someone else go up first. Leo, what you think about the game?
I got nothing but praise for it. I'm actually sad, like Optimus says, that I'm not seeing any perfect scores. I'm not saying it's the best game ever. I wouldn't be that crazy. Who am I kidding? It's the best Assassin's Creed, hands down. And I'm gonna go throw in a popular opinion in here that's gonna upset Dark Optimus, and I'm gonna say it is the best because it's not an Assassin's Creed game. They moved away from a lot of the things that make Assassin's Creed, and they embrace the Witcher style of things. And I think that's what really makes this game a lot better. They started doing that more in Black Flag.
Yeah.
You know, you got a lot more freedom of movement. The world's obviously bigger. There's more quests. The quests mean a little bit more. They started moving away from that, and I think that all comes together in this game where, like, I think I have a day, maybe 2 days worth of game time together, and I'm only on like the third set of story quests. I've just been skipping that shit completely and just wandering around the map. Like yesterday, I just spent almost 2 hours doing all the stone circles. It literally took me 2 hours to get around the entire damn map. Like
that's like 12,
the map is
right?
huge.
Dang.
Yeah, there's 12 of them. It's a huge map, and you've seen a huge map before, but it doesn't really take that long to get across in most games. This game, you're on your horse. You feel like you're on a damn horse walking through the desert. It takes a while, and some people might not like that, but I like it because what's the point of having a big ass open world if you walk across it in 2 seconds? So I like the sense of travel. I think they've been worrying about the
Yeah.
done.
I think he's bought right now.
Yeah, you bought it out.
I think you bought it out, bro.
Have a lot of
He's still going. He's still going.
Leo, you bought it. Let me hop in real quick. He's still trying to.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Potent.
Famous for
Yo, Leo, stop talking.
one character.
I don't think he can hear you.
Oh, okay.
He must not.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead. Like I said, when I initially turned on the game, we can't. You're botting, Leo. You might want to drop out and come back in if you can hear me. When I initially turned on the game, I was just doing it just for comparison. Like I was going to play the first portion of the game like I did on the S, just to see, that portion again and see how much of an upgrade the X is. And it's a huge upgrade. But then
you couldn't stop, right? You couldn't stop playing.
I could not stop playing. The game is really good. The controls are really tight. Like they did a really good job on the controls. I don't feel like he ever gets away from me. Like, in some Assassin's Creed, you'll be trying to go one way, but it seems like he overshoots a lot. This time around, the controls are really good. The reason I was asking about you changing those buttons is today for the first time, because so far as I've been going through it, like I'm still early game, but I've been pretty much stealthing everything. I get in a few fights because I'm playing on hard, so I get on. I tried my best to get in as few fights as possible, but today I was getting a fight in the camera angle. I was in a fight with more than one enemy, and when you lock onto one enemy, the camera kind of shift on you sometimes. And today that caused me to die. You know what I'm saying? And I think part of the so that is an issue. I haven't ran into any bugs or anything like that so far. And that was my first issue with the camera. When I was watching reviews or whatnot, I know a lot of people talked about how the camera would switch to different enemies that you weren't actually trying to switch to whenever you got in a fight with multiple enemies. So that was my first encounter with that today. But I think I could have handled it a little bit better if the attack buttons were in a normal place for me,
Right.
you know, that I'm used to.
Yeah.
So I think changing that will probably alleviate something like that from, you know, bogging me down again. The scenery is nice.
Bane's heads up. So on those control schemes, it's not
Uh-huh.
you can't be within the game world to change it. You have to be in the title screen. So just so you're not like getting frustrated flipping through a menu trying to find it, it's you
Okay.
have to be in the title scheme before you load up your game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Once you set it up, there's a couple different options, and there's this one thing where it just there's like one toggle you move from one to the other, and it basically fixes everything for you.
ooh,
Yeah, I
'cause
did that.
I'd have been stuck. I'd have been
Yeah, I did
ticked.
that right. I did that right in the beginning, man. I was just like, I started playing with the new controls, and I was like, fuck this shit. No,
Yeah, I
it's
don't
not
like
Assassin's
I
Creed
don't
at
like
that point.
yeah, I don't like those.
Well,
I don't like the attack.
also
Go
keep in
ahead.
mind if a game doesn't have the controls that you want, right? You can actually control the button mapping on your Xbox.
Hmm.
So there's no reason for you to. I always tell people to try what the developers have put forth in front of you, but
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to do, you know.
yeah, but if it's not working out for you, don't be afraid to do a custom layout just so the game plays how it should for you, right? So
Yeah,
you can enjoy. I mean, those developers work hard so you can enjoy it. So
that's
do
true.
everything you can to enjoy the game for sure.
That's
Yeah.
true. Um, but as far as the scenery and what I've seen so far, the game is beautiful. Um, I mean, it really looks good on the X. The draw distance. I mean, the textures, lighting. I mean, everything. The game really. I'm always at awe. You know, running around the game. I'm like, dang, it looks so close to real life. And I'm like, you know, how much further can we go in these games? You get in these games that are just looking so good right now. Um, and the X has a lot to do with that. But I'm enjoying my time with Assassin's Creed right now. I don't see myself stopping. Got a little bit more to finish on Zelda, so of course I'll hop back on that and try to finish that on up real quick. But I'm loving the game, man. It's a great game.
And it's so big, man. That like Leo
Yeah.
said, it was such a huge world. There's so much to do that it just, at first it feels overwhelming, but at the same time, I'm all like, I love it because it's, overwhelming.
Right.
And it's a beautiful scenery and beautiful world. It's just what they did with it. It's just, it blows my mind, and I can't wait to see it on the X, man. I know I don't have it yet, but definitely want to see it on there.
Yeah. What about you, Don?
You know, it hasn't grabbed me yet, to be honest with you. It doesn't feel enough like Assassin's Creed, which is kind of disappointing me. I'm still early in the story, so maybe give it a little bit more time, see what happens.
Right.
And it doesn't have that snappiness where you're like parkouring, hardcore parkour to all the different little things you can jump on.
Mhm.
But the game feels weighted, almost sluggish feeling when I'm playing it. So there's a lot of changes to get used to. The button layout I gave it a shot and wasn't really digging that, so I switched that around. So I'm hoping I get more into it. It just really hasn't been getting a hold of me as of right now. And I don't honestly, as good as it does look on the X, I don't think it's the best example of what the X can show you that you can play right now. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it looks really good. And like I said, I played it on the S, or played a portion of it on the S first, and then I played it on the X. So that gave me that wow factor because I really saw the jump like there is a pretty sizable jump from the S to the X.
Yeah,
But I would agree that it probably it's not the best that I've seen. I would probably go to like Battlefront 2 is probably up there, the best that I've seen. Like Battlefront 2 looks really, really good. And then I was really we'll get more into this later, but I was really surprised with how Halo turned out too. So I agree that it's not probably the best showcase, but it is a big gulf between the S version of it and the X version of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's more of a clarity around the edge of the characters where it really shows up.
Right.
You know, that's what I noticed the most. The shadowing on it. There's no like popping from a distance type stuff.
Right.
Those sort of things. The draw distance between the base model and on the X are both really good, to be honest with you on that game.
Right.
What I noticed also on the X is when you switch to Birdman, right? You're flying above everybody, and you switch back to your character. On standard consoles, I mean, like Pro, the Xbox, the standard Xbox, and base model PlayStation, there's quite a bit of like just waiting to load back to your main character. It doesn't happen on the X.
Yeah,
Literally,
same.
so you hit the button on the X and you swap from the bird to running on the ground instantaneously.
Dang.
So you could be like hiding in some little shack, right? You know, a little Egyptian shack, right? And you're looking down of where those guys are, and you can't really get a clear shot of like all the people you want to sneak around and kind of kill. You can switch to your bird instantaneously, see all that sort of stuff, and boom, you hit the button. Usually back in the action normally on most games, but now you can be all the way. Your bird can be all the way across the map, and you hit the button, and your character's there, which is pretty awesome.
It is. It is.
I also do this little trick too. I don't know if you know when you get on your camel, you can basically set a waypoint, and the camel just goes on autopilot and takes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it's doing that, I'll switch to the bird and fly around, and pick out all the enemies in that area. Like I'll be all the way across the map, and I'll pick them all the way out. And by the time I flip, I can be my bird. And you can look and see where your character is, and then flip back. You're almost instantaneously in the action when you're there. So you can do little things like that on the X that honestly affect gameplay, which are pretty cool.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, that is. I did notice that because one time I came into a situation where I was in a stronghold and there was two guards standing right by each other, and I was like, okay, if I try to take out one, the other one's gonna get alerted, and I'm gonna have to fight him. Well, there's a perk with the bird that he will aggravate one of the guards. So I had the bird aggravate one of them, and I was able to switch back instantaneously to go in and kill the other guard while he aggravated him, and then I went over and killed the guard that he was harassing.
So
it was really fast. So I mean, there is a big difference there.
Well, and let me ask you this question, because I haven't got max, because you have the skill tree in the game, right?
Yeah.
Right now, it just feels like you don't have a lot of agility in the character, right? Like he doesn't have very many moves when you first start off. So when you kind of open up that skill tree, you start having some like be on a perch on a tower, and you come down, you can assassinate somebody. That stuff kind of start unlocking as you progress through the game, so your character's not so stiff.
Well, the way they do it, I mean, you can get. I think he's gonna. And I understand what you're saying. Like he does feel. I can agree with you. He does feel a little bit stiff compared to the other Assassin's Creed characters. So I can feel what you're saying there. But
I would call.
See, that's where I'll beg to differ, because I think that he's a lot faster than a lot of the Assassin's Creed characters that have been there in the past, because I think he definitely maneuvers a lot faster, and he does a lot of his attacks a lot faster too. So I mean, I would have to.
You have the skill tree unlocked though, right?
Yeah, but it's going to be the same, because the skill tree doesn't really focus on like his movement like that. So you assassinating people is based upon like your leveling, and then how you upgrade your your equipment. You know what I'm saying? The skill tree has other things in there. He does run a little bit more stiff, but I do agree that in combat it seems like he is faster than past Assassin's Creed. But I can see, because sometimes when he's running, I'm thinking like, why is he running like that? Like
well, it's all automatic this time around. You know, it's not like where you had to press a button in order for him to run faster, things like that.
Yeah,
It's basically an automatic him running. It's the same thing with the horse. You know, the horse, in certain areas will slow down or speed up. It's just I think he maneuvers very very well and precise. So I mean I haven't had any problems, and I'm on the S, so maybe it's a little bit different on the X. I don't know.
Nah, I mean, because the controls are tight now, but I can see where Don's coming from, because the character to me does look. I mean, he does. I can see where you can get that he's kind of stiff. You know what I'm saying?
It just feels weighty. Like, he's like,
I
use the word diesel. Like, he feels like powerful, but
right, exactly.
At the same token, he feels like he doesn't get there quickly. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
you guys are bashing my favorite game, and I don't like it.
Oh no, I want to get into
great to me.
Keep in mind, I'm pretty early on in the game itself, so like I really do want to get into it. I enjoyed Syndicate, so I've been looking forward to this game for a while. But it's kind of like when you wake up late at night, right? And you go swig a thing of milk, and you accidentally grab the jug of orange juice. There's nothing wrong with orange juice. It's just not what you're expecting, right? And it's kind of a shocker. And that's kind of the point where I'm at right now. Like, I'm expecting one thing. I got something slightly different, and I want to give it a chance. I just it hasn't gotten there yet. So.
All right. Do we have Leo back? Is he back?
I mean, I've been here, but
okay.
Apparently I'm a robot and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, man. He was doing the bot thing. You want to finish up what you were saying, because we didn't get
man, who knows where I was? I was going on a damn rant, so who knows?
Yeah, I know, man.
It was on my end. It was good. That's all you gotta know. On my end, it sounded good. So, I am the reason I'm liking this so much is kind of the opposite of what Don's talking about, or kind of the same thing. He's not into it so much because it doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed, and I'm more into it because it doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed. I wasn't a huge fan of the more precise movement kind of thing that he's looking for, which, there's no problem. I liked 1 and 2, but I wasn't into that too much. And I like the way that this game is more, I don't want to say mainstream, but I do feel like it is a bit more mainstream. It's not as much heavy on the Assassin's Creed kind of vibe. It's more it's just a big old open world with tons of cool stuff to do and a cool story. So maybe it's kind of more generic on that kind of side. That's why I like it.
Well, that's where I have to beg to differ, because I think it is Assassin's Creed.
You just begging to differ everybody.
No, but I feel like it is. It feels like Assassin's Creed to me. Because I've played every single game ever since the franchise started, and it still feels Assassin's Creed. It's still, I still feel like I can go into a camp and assassinate people, or if I want, I can just go in guns blazing, like in the other series, the other titles in the series. But I definitely feel, I feel like it's an Assassin's Creed game, but it's beyond that too, with adding that Witcher feel and that Horizon Zero Dawn feel and things like that. And I feel like if they keep going in this direction, this could possibly be, one of the best franchises ever to hit the gaming market.
I just think it's a little bit more casual, and I know casual is a bad term, but I'm not using it as a bad term. I'm using it more
You're
like
casual.
You're fucking casual, all right? Let me beg to differ on your ass real quick. The way I'm seeing it is that in previous Assassin's Creed games, in the first 2, 3, 4, it's a lot more harsh. If you screw up, if you're fighting people and you get out of control, you're probably gonna die. It's gonna be harder for you to get away. It's gonna be harder for you to. It's a lot harder on you. In this game, you can get away from anything, and the enemy's harder than you. It just has a skull. And you just don't go over there. Everything else, you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want. It's a lot more forgiving. And that's where I'm saying that it doesn't feel as much as Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed was more of a kind of a hardcore game, in my opinion, from the way it had the gameplay mechanics worked out. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Basically, you're saying like before they didn't have like the leveling system, like, you know, where you couldn't go into a certain area. You could basically open the whole map and just run around and do whatever you want. And
I enjoy it, but I'm just saying that it does make it a lot easier in a lot of parts. There is plenty of challenge in this game. I'm not bashing it there.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in previous other games, I think that it's I think it's a lot more casual in that way, and that's why I think a lot more people should be liking it. And I'm still confused why people aren't going into it.
So let me ask you this: so do you approach your encounters differently in this game? Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong.
Well,
maybe,
you
yeah.
do yours? Because
the old one I used to.
Stealth.
Yeah, the old one used to run in if I get the jump on them, right? You know, before they catch what I'm doing. You know, they'll get a knife to the throat, and they're down and they're gone. And then I would run up a wall, and then everyone's like wondering what happened, right? And I can see people scrambling. And then I jump down on, you know, like it's all about like I would bait somebody, like I would kill somebody real quick, bait somebody, and then kill a bunch of other dudes. And that just doesn't seem to be working on this one. This one, it seems like, I guess the way you're explaining it is basically is like it's more fight and flight. You know, sort of situations.
It seems to me because I played, you know, I have a good amount of time, and as long as you avoid the skull enemies, the ones that are like 5 levels higher than whatever the hell,
right.
As long as you avoid those, you can pretty much go into any camp you want, guns blazing, and there's really no punishment from you. You're pretty much gonna win if you're decent at the game, or you can just run away. Whereas in the previous games, you really needed to be planning out your missions and being a lot more careful.
And see, I kind of approached it different anyway because I watched a lot of reviews, and a lot of people say the same things about if you get in the fight with multiple enemies, then the camera can, you know, do some weird things on you and cause you to lose the battle. So I said I didn't want to be involved in any of that. So I'm doing mostly stealth. You know what I'm saying? I'll go into an encampment and
right.
I'll take half the encampment out without being seen. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then yeah, so that's how I'm playing it. I guess I'm a little bit more cautious, huh?
But that's what I try to do in stealth games.
Yeah,
then I always get caught.
Yeah, I'm basically doing it the same way that Baines is doing it, but you know, when I do get into those encounters where there are a lot of enemies, I don't go straight into that like one enemy type of mode where it's like Dark Souls where you can just lock onto them. I don't lock onto them.
Yeah.
I just start hitting them, you know, taking them out the little guys, you know, and then when the captain comes around or whatever, I usually lock on him and then start battling him. I don't usually like with the smaller enemies. I don't lock onto those guys. I just go in, stab them, stealth kill them or whatever.
Yeah.
And then try to get the captain as well.
No, you've always been able to highlight enemies in Assassin's Creed games, and I've never.
Well, you couldn't lock. You weren't able to lock onto them though. Like you couldn't.
Wouldn't your attacks go toward? You would highlight them, and then your attacks would be.
Well, now.
What's the word?
Yeah, now they actually attack you. Yeah, like before they wouldn't attack you. Like the enemies would wait their turn to attack you. Now it's all about
free fall.
Them attacking you whenever you least expect it.
Well, I think what Remix is talking about, there's a little bit of a snapping towards the enemy.
Yeah.
Like,
true. Yeah.
So you're, basically in a bush.
Clicked out like LT to snap onto enemies.
Well, so you're like in a bush and the character is like 20 feet away, right? But his back's turned to you. So you would like run to him, but you weren't quite like spot on, right? And you would kind of like, just kind of tilt the camera and get it just kind of be somewhat on. And when you hit the attack, that basically the character would snap onto to the other character in the kill animation. Very similar to how the old Assassin's Creeds would snap between the different parkour elements, right? You would do in the game. You would do that to the character. This is not there, so that's snapping.
But also in combat, also in like combat, like let's say like you're fighting 3 NPCs, then you could highlight one of those 3 guys and fight them in the older games.
Yeah, you could. This is still different on the new one. It's completely different. It's
Right.
very dark. I would almost want to say, like, I hate to say this because people always use this analogy, but the fight mechanics remind me a lot of Dark Souls.
Yeah, minus the stamina. I mean, it really is.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very similar to it, but I try to not utilize the Dark Souls.
It's like Dark Souls light, right? It's not the
Yeah.
difficult portion of it, right? But it's the
Dark Souls like.
Yeah, but it's the same sort of thing from what I can tell is like, you know, they get into that key animation, you can tell they're gonna swing at you. You're like, okay, so I'm gonna throw my shield up or I'm gonna, you know, dodge away, right?
Right.
And so it's very much like that in that basic fundamental Dark Souls kind of combat where you're learning how these enemies seem to be attacking you in regards to that. So that's why it's good not to, I think, lock onto any of them, because next thing you know, they have someone jumps you from behind, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop locking on.
You can't see those key animations, so you can't even like dodge out of the way if you knew it was coming or not, right? So you just get cold claw in the back of the head.
Yeah, the way I've been doing it is like I'll just, you know, have like a counter in my head, so I'll know the enemy's behind me, but I'll figure I got a few seconds to wail on one, and then I need to move because I can't see the dude behind me, but I know he's about to attack. But I'm gonna stop locking on. It seems like that's working out for all of y'all. But we're gonna go ahead and move on. We've been on ACO for a minute. Next up is Call of Duty World War II impressions, and I figured this may take a minute. So let's go ahead and see what you guys, the ones who played it, what do you guys think about that so far? And y'all can just jump in.
COD, you know, World War II this time around, it's really good, man. I have no real like big complaints from what I've played so far. I mean, of course, you know, months down the line, I'll probably have some complaints with the multiplayer just because I just keep getting sniped by campers. But that's just, you know, my problem, not anybody else's problem. But I definitely like the campaign so far from what I played. I haven't tried zombies, but I heard a lot of great things about it. And the multiplayer, you know, this is where me and Remix, I know, are going to beg to differ, but I feel like the maps are a lot close quarters this time around than they have been since like. So I think, you know, because Ghosts and then games after that were kind of like more just bigger maps, and they didn't feel very close quarters. I feel like these maps are a lot more close quarters, and you have a lot less snipers on the maps and things like that. I definitely enjoy some. You know, there are some maps that I'm not enjoying at all. Like some of the beta ones, I'm not enjoying, but the some of the ones that they didn't have in the beta, I actually like the USS George or something like that. Texas, I like that. I like that Texas map. I like that map. I know Remix doesn't like that map, but I like that map. But there are. I feel like this year's Call of Duty is a step above what the last Call of Duties have been, and you know, they didn't give us a lot of maps this time around. I know they only gave us like 9 maps, and that's kind of shitty. But I think you know, they will definitely. You know, probably make us pay. Well, they're going to make us pay for the DLC maps. So, you know, we'll have more maps later on, but we'll have to pay for them.
Yeah, hopping in. So, I've only played the multiplayer so far. I really enjoy the game. It's boots on the ground, which is really what I wanted, as well as the time to kill feels pretty good, maybe a little fast, but pretty good overall. And the sniping is really good. Like, I'm enjoying myself a lot sniping. I haven't really felt like sniping's been that good since like Black Ops 2. So I've been enjoying myself with that. But I do have a big issue with map design and the fact that there are only 9 maps. I feel like the beta maps are actually the best maps besides Aachen. I seem to enjoy those maps, and there's one other map I've only played like twice. It's kind of like in a more like little village area, but I haven't played that one that much. So the other maps, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of open space that hasn't been utilized. I feel like it's not that they're necessarily like super big maps. There's just a lot of open space is what I would say. Like they're trying to do this 3-lane design, but they're putting some stuff in the middle and leaving like the sides completely open. Like there's one map. I don't know what's in the middle of the map, but it's like raised up. I don't know if you would know the name or if you know what I'm talking about. Optimus, big black thing in the middle, and then it's like kind of snowy, and the sides are just like completely wide open, and it's just like you can't even go anywhere on the sides of the map because you'll just get picked off by a sniper. So I have some issues with map design. Although I will say, I've actually been playing quite a bit of the war mode, which I didn't really expect, and they do have 3 maps in there, which I think is why they have a lack of maps in the normal rotation, which I don't think is an excuse. But the war maps are really good. I've been enjoying myself with that, and I've actually been playing that quite a bit. So, yeah, overall, I'm in it's a good Call of Duty, I think.
Okay, well, I'll get mine in real quick. I just think it's Call of Duty.
It's Call of Duty.
Let me get my. What I gotta say out. I'll let you go. It's gonna be quick, I promise. Over the years, it feels the same. It feels like, it doesn't. The core mechanics of the game just never change. It's nothing different. I think I'll play this one a little bit more just because of the X. You know what I'm saying? I played a couple maps. It looks really good, crisp. You know what I'm saying? I usually get Call of Duty for the story, the campaign. I was able to pick this up at a discount, so I've heard the campaign was really good.
So Baines, let me ask you this question. So the core game is starting to wear on you, is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it's been like the only reason I play Call of Duty is for the campaign. That's it. I usually wait for a sale, pick it up, play the campaign, and I don't. It's been years since I've touched the Call of Duty multiplayer, and that's what I'm saying. It's been years since I've touched it, but yeah, it feels the same as when I played it the last time. So
and that's the funny thing is, like, I pick up Call of Duty once every 2 or 3 years, right? Yeah, I know what I'm buying into each time. It's going to be, for the most part, the same experience. The MVP player is going to be the follow me character in the campaign, and and you pull left trigger, right trigger, and you have a good time and have an epic story, right?
Right.
So you kind of know what to expect, but I hear a lot of other people starting to feel the way I do. And you, Baines, is that people want something different, but they don't, right? And so when they don't get the departure they're looking for, then they're kind of almost bored with the franchise pretty early. And then what ends up happening is if you go too far off the course, they're just this weird damn if they do, damn if they don't situation going on right now. And Call of Duty is not going to fall off the face of the earth. That's not going to happen.
No.
But I think it's starting to peter out, and it's going to level off to even though this one's doing better than all of them the last couple of years, but it's going to peter out eventually to a lower number, and then it's going to level out to that number that's probably still going to be quite profitable for them. So
yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with what Don said. It's Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty, but like the whole point of this COD, but I don't expect anything different, right? Every year, like I just expect, a new skin, new guns, new maps, and so on and so forth. But like this Call of Duty is all about going back, kind of to the roots. It's about going to the boots on the ground, going back to World War II. While like the last 3 Call of Duties have had advanced movement, I bought. Unfortunately, I bought all the Call of Duties, but like Infinite Warfare, I don't even know if I'm level 10 in that game. Black Ops 3, I barely touched. Advanced Warfare, I played, and that teetered off quick. And same with Ghost. Like I played a bit of Ghost, and then stopped playing that real quick. So for me, it's just kind of going back to boots on the ground again after the 3 years of advanced movement. That's just like the enjoyment I have with the game, as well as I feel like each COD does have its own kind of like gun feeling, kind of gameplay feeling, and I just kind of want like that almost Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1 gameplay feeling. I'm more of a fan of the Treyarch games. You and I were talking about that the other day. Like the Treyarch games a lot more. There's just some feeling about those games, and I think this one has it to an extent, except for I feel like quite a few of them, not all the maps, but a lot of the map design is kind of bad. So that's that.
What about you, Yukon? I know you're playing the story, right? You haven't played the multiplayer.
Oh yeah, I played the beta like everybody else. I wasn't really impressed because, like Remix was just saying, I'm a big fan of the Treyarch Call of Duties, where the time to kill is a little higher, and I feel like it makes it a little more tactical. I'm not just getting shot in the back all the time, and that starts to wear on you.
Yeah.
You feel like you have a chance to kind of survive any battle, so it's really all on you. There's not a lot of even though there's not a lot of luck in these Call of Duty, it still kind of feels like, oh, I got shot in the back, and it feels like it's easy excuses are out there. So that's why I like the Treyarch ones better personally. This one it's not too bad like that, but it does feel like a lot of the other Call of Duties where it's just a different skin. But this one's it's not as bad. Definitely, like I played Advanced Warfare, and I didn't play Infinite Warfare because I played Advanced Warfare, and it just I don't like dying it. If I want to die one, I play hardcore mode. That's just not my thing.
Mm.
The campaign, and then they made a big change where it's not just you don't generate health anymore. Now you gotta get health packs, and it made a lot more fun for me. I'm not just hiding behind cover the whole damn time because waiting for my health to come back. The game isn't designed around the fact that you can get your health back whenever you want. So it's not constant. You're constantly getting shot. You're playing higher difficulties. Person on there on the every bot is a sniper. Even if they got a pistol and they're hitting you from the other side of the map, you're constantly hiding behind cover. It just doesn't make it too much fun. But this whole new thing where you can ask your ally for a med pack whenever you're killing enemies, so you can't abuse it too much. It makes it more fun. So I'm playing on veteran. You're getting sniped from across the map. Guy who can't even shoot, he's shooting his gun over his shoulder from the other side of the map, killing you really easy. And you're always behind cover. This, you're more up. Packs, you can use them wherever you want. You're running from cover to cover. You're because you have to kill enemies to get more. So it causes you to be more active in the story. And I'm liking it a lot more. So I heard it's really short, but a good time with it.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Anybody else want to hop in? We're gonna move on. All right. Xbox One X talk. I think me and Don are the only ones that have the system. So I'll let Don go ahead and just tell what his experience with the system so far.
You know, I know what to expect, right? More on the development side of things. So, I knew we are going to get higher textures, what that means. And when they say 4K assets is not the same as a 4K texture, right? I know all this stuff, right? Because I do the graphics side of things. If somebody wants to know my background, that's what I do. I create R assets for game engines, essentially. So I knew what to expect and knew essentially what the power can do in the box, right? You basically take the specs of that box and you add about a 30% increase on the PC side of things, and that's kind of the optimization difference between PC and a console on average, right? So I just knew what I was going to expect. So I got it because I prefer the console experience for my own personal as a consumer, right? When I'm done doing what I'm doing on the computer, I want to play on the console, right? And I want to play on a platform where I've already invested my money in on what titles I invested in. On the controller, I prefer the most, and that sort of thing. And I've been playing the standard Xbox for 4 years now, right? The Xbox One. So I was looking forward to an upgrade, and it's everything I expected it to be. A couple surprises here and there. If you do pick up an X and you have, I think, Titanfall 2, that was probably the biggest surprise to me. That one's got a lot of heat from Digital Foundry, but if you play the game as a whole, they're talking about like a couple cases. There's like 2 or 3% of the game versus the actual game as a whole. Game as a whole looks absolutely stunning compared to the standard S version. That's probably one of the biggest jumps I've seen. And I think the other two that show it off are, I would say, Halo and Gears. Those two in particular probably show it off the best.
Did you try that multiplayer in Titanfall?
I didn't try to multiplayer. I just hopped into the campaign wherever my last save was.
Okay.
And I was at that point where, spoilers, right? But your Titan, it was about to die. And you pull that eyeball out, and then you got like that heat-seeking pistol.
Yeah. Essentially.
And I was just running through the game doing that portion. You had just the fire and everything else. So, like, it looked phenomenal. So I mean, the game looks great. I was really impressed with how it looks. I didn't like the multiplayer in Titanfall 2, so I didn't bother with the multiplayer to see what that turned out to be. And then, Gears is awesome. That's the first time I ever tried Dolby Atmos. It is on Gears, and that's phenomenal. I was also talking to Dark Onimus, and we're talking about Dolby Atmos on the latest Forza. And what people don't know about Dolby Atmos is it's the best way to kind of describe it. It's VR for your head, for your ear holes, right? So essentially, what it does, it's not just surround sound like where you have virtually giving you speakers in front of you, to the sides of you, and behind you, right? You also are getting sound from above and below you now with Dolby Atmos. And so when I was playing Forza, it was right on the rain tracks, and I went off the track. You know how you get like dirt kind of kicks up and hits the wheel wells? I can actually hear it hit the wheel wells, but underneath me, while rain's still hitting the top of the hood as cars are flying by you, right? Because I went off the track. Nice. And that's the type of, not a lot of games use the Atmos yet. And I'm not a huge sound guy, to be honest with you. But that was impressive, where you actually can hear the sound from above and below you. And add just like another thing of depth that like you just got sucked out of the world you're in and into the game, which was pretty phenomenal. So no, the system looks great. I think also on the non-enhanced, I tried the Destiny, even though Destiny just got confirmed with a 4K patch coming in December. Literally as we're doing this podcast, it just did that. Bungie just announced that. So, so I've been playing it before the 4K patch, obviously, because it's not December. And just the sharpness of the anti-aliasing in that game is so much sharper, playing it on the X. It's just cleaner looking. And the other thing I also noticed is the frame rate pacing. Like, on the S, you wouldn't get dropped frames, but sometimes you get occasional stutter frame, right? Or something along those lines. So even though a game's still running at 30 frames per second, it just feels silkier and smoother as you're playing it. So it's just a little more refined on the frame rate pacing. So yeah, overall, it's been a good experience. I have to say the only negative I've ran into was any game that I already have installed the X patch. It made me reinstall the whole entire game again before I can play it, and I don't know why it was doing that. So.
All right. Well, yeah. As far as myself, I'll come more from just regular consumer. I was really fulfilled this time around because I bought the Pro, and there was just a marginal difference between the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. There's a big gulf of difference between the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. And I've tried several games. Like I said, Halo 5, when I put that in and played that multiplayer, my jaw dropped. I was like, I was like, wow. I mean, you could really tell the difference. Like it was a huge difference from playing it on the S. And for me, it was more about on my console of choice. Where I spend most of my time anyway. I just want to play. I want my games to be over, of the highest quality, and I feel I got that. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's see, what else did I play? Battlefront 2. When I played that on the S during the beta um, period, it was real blurry on the S for some reason. And I played it on the PS4 Pro, and it was a little bit better, but it wasn't a gulf of difference. But on the X, it's a huge difference. I mean, your field of view is so far out. Everything so far out looks so clear. It's crazy. Like, you would have an advantage over somebody who is playing an S, um, and you're on the X, just because you can see so clear so far down the field. Um, so I mean, it's stuff like that. I was just, I kind of knew what I was getting into, but when I got it and started playing the games, I was impressed, and I was really satisfied with the purchase. With the Pro, I kind of there was an teensy bit of regret with that one. But with this one, with this purchase, this mid-gen upgrade, I think it was really well worth it. You know,
I have a hard time calling it a mid-gen upgrade.
Well, they are
Because,
pushing the envelope, but
yeah,
that's basically what it is.
it's like it's next generation level of power, right?
Yeah.
But game development's got into, and this is what's happening behind the scenes, right? Game development's got to a place where we can scale the games over dramatic gulfs in power like that, right? It's just scaling the texture assets essentially, and some of the effects back, right? And just to kind of overly simplify it, right? So when you create a game, you already have all this high level assets already there, right?
Mhm.
But you never got a chance to see that because, well, the hardware never had that power. Well, now you make hardware more powerful. You should just swapping out textures, just swapping out some of the things that were already built, right? So this whole idea of like you have to build something from the ground up to really take advantage of the X. Games have been doing that since the 360 era. So like we really are in this weird era where you don't have to dump the old hardware to take advantage of the new hardware.
Right.
And so it's next level jump, but it's the first time you never had to abandon your old hardware. And for me, that's exciting. That's something new, right? Because we're more diehard gamers. I mean, each one of us will, everyone's bought an X, right? But each one of us will buy it when the time makes right for us, right? And there's not this feeling of rush. You have to be there at launch. You can run your S to whenever time you're tired of it. You want something new. You're also, from an Xbox perspective, they're not losing customers, right? Because
Mhm.
if you're getting bored with the S around 4 years, because you look at the 360, I always refer to last gen, right? Such a long time. Around 4 or 5 years, there were people that were frustrated and upset there wasn't something new on the market, right? Now those people can do the upgrade, and then the crazy thing is, I knew people were buying 360s up until like 7 years into the market space, right? So you have those people that are going to be a tint with that base model console, and are not going to be holding back somebody who wants to go to the more powerful hardware. So it's a win-win for everybody, and it's something new, and I'm excited for where they're going. In regards to its next generational leap, but it's not forcing you to commit to it, and that's something special.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing right there. It's not forcing you to commit to it. If you want the extra power, it's there for you. But if you don't want it, you don't want to spend the money on it, then you still have the same games, to experience on the other version of the console. Um, so another thing about the console too, I've been trying to run it. I've been trying to run this thing to death. I've been keeping it on and just trying to take it through the paces, and it doesn't really get that hot. I mean, there's one section of it that gets decently warm, but the rest of the console, I mean, it doesn't really get that hot, and it's quiet as a mouse. There's every now and then it's like it'll take a breath, but then that's it. You know, you won't hear it again. Um, so I mean, they did a good job, and the beast is heavy though. The thing is heavy.
I was afraid of my floating cabinet that I have. So I have this cabinet just floating in the middle of my wall, and I was about to put my X on there, and I'm like, ooh, I got all the jokes about the weight. Like, who cares, right?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm probably one of the few people that should care right now because I have this cabinet floating above my television that may smash my TV. But no, my carpentry tool skills are on point, and and it's not that heavy. I mean, it's just a little.
Yeah, I mean, I was just surprised when I picked it up. I was like, oh shit, yeah, it does have a little more girth to it, but that's understandable.
You don't notice it when you pick up the box, right? It's when you pull it out of the box and you have the size of it being smaller, and so you kind of an expected weight when you have your hands when it's that size. It's not that way, right?
Right.
So it is very dense for sure.
All right, y'all got anything y'all want to ask or before we move on?
I mean, from what you guys were saying, you know, it just seems like it's definitely something that I would want to upgrade to, and when I can upgrade, I'll definitely do it. But like you guys said at the time, you know, if you have the money and you have the means to do it, then do it. But if you don't, then you can wait. Which is always a good thing because
you are bought autonomous.
Yeah, you're doing a robot.
God damn it.
Popping and locking.
How about let me jump in there real quick.
Am I good now?
Nah, you're not good. So, no, you're good. Continue, buddy.
Well, I forgot what I was gonna say, man. Just go ahead.
Damn. All right. Perfect. So my thing, I'm running the OG 7-year-old Xbox One still. No problems. He's just sitting there. He's a little dusty. He's a little worse for the wear. I was going to get an Xbox One X, but I don't have a 4K TV. And
he's botting.
Doesn't seem like it's a point. It doesn't seem point to me. If I'm not going to get the fat upgrade on the graphics, it just doesn't seem like it's. I know the games are going to run better and better loading times and all kinds of greater stuff like that, but if I don't have the TV, I don't see the point of getting it.
All right, so Leo, let me give you a counter argument here. All right.
Yeah.
So last gen 360 and say PlayStation 3 era. Did you ever buy one of those consoles before you bought a high def TV?
I mean, I had a high def TV.
You had the high def TV before you bought the consoles?
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people, though, you're the exception, right? But a lot of people, I would say about 50% of that market, when that generation happened, didn't have their high def TVs yet when they bought their consoles. So they saw a difference, right? You pop in Gears, and it's a standard definition television. You were able to see the difference in the actual game itself, right? But that game really came alive when you got an HD TV and you're able to get that extra layer, right? And that's kind of where Xbox One X is right now. You actually can see and feel the difference. Even games that are not patched, right? I think Xbox talks it up a little too much. You know, my buddy on Next, right, with super sampling and stuff like that. But it does make a difference, right? You're taking a higher level image asset and you're reducing it down to basically the lower resolution television, right? So it comes out crisper, it comes out cleaner. The lighting effects would come through. You're not getting all the detail, but you're getting better detail and a better source image than you would on a standard fat one, right? So,
I mean, I'm not arguing that. I mean, you're completely right, for sure. That I know it's going to be better. But when I'm going to drop $500, I want everything that I'm paying for. I don't want half of it. I want a quarter of it. So that's personally why I'm not getting it, because I don't have a 4K TV yet to take full advantage of everything that the X has to offer.
Well, you have to buy one or the other first, right? So you have to buy the TV first, or you have to buy the console first, or if you're one of those guys who wants to jump both feet in, I guess you can do that too, right? But there's no, if you want to take advantage of it, you can do it. If you don't, that's the beauty, though. That's the whole beauty of all this, right? You do not have to. You're not being forced to upgrade to a new console. It's there when you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing. I think we're agreeing here. I don't know.
Yeah, y'all are.
Yeah, I'm here with you, Leo. Fucking, I still got the OG Xbox. I'm sticking with it for a while, probably. So
you guys got that?
If I find a good deal on a 4K, you got to buy one or the other first. He's not wrong, but knowing that I don't have everything to make it as good as it can be until I get a 4K TV, I feel like I would be buying them at the same time. Personally, not everybody thinks like that. So I'm waiting for a good deal on a 4K TV, and then maybe I'll re-examine my stance on the Xbox One X.
Yeah, and it has to be the right 4K TV, right? Too, right? Like there's cute 4K TVs out there, but let's be honest. Until last year, they kind of sucked for gaming. The latency was awful on them, right? So, kudos for Microsoft having the right timing on it. You know what I mean? Where TVs were just started getting their stride, where it was a feasible platform to be playing games on. For the home user, but and the latency is only going to get better. The 10-bit color panel, the full array of lighting in the back of the television, all that stuff is going to get better, right? So, if you don't buy a 4K TV this year, next year you're going to have even more choices at a better price, right?
Yeah.
And in the following year, you're going to have more choices at a better price, and the console's still going to be relevant 2 years down the road. So, if you're an early adopter, great. If you're not, who cares, right? Like, just do what you want to do as a consumer and buy in when you feel like it's worth your money. Like, because, as he's mentioning, TVs may come down in price. I don't think the X is going to come much down in price this time next year, but the following year, definitely. The components are going to get cheaper on that. So the X is going to get cheaper. Same with the Pro, PlayStation 4 Pro as well.
So do you think if you're gonna wait and you're already set on getting the X, do you think you should wait until next year to get it just because it's gonna go down in price, or do you think right now is the best time to just pick it up?
I'm probably the worst person to ask that, because when it comes to PC stuff, when it comes to consoles and that sort of thing, I'm an early adopter, right? I know I'm paying a premium when I do that, right? But I'm also getting usage of that product for that time frame. So in the case of like a PC, right, I'll buy a 1080 and don't even think twice about it, right? I mean, I save up for it, but just like anybody else. But I buy a 1080 Ti. Well, I know I'm going to keep that card for a long time. I'm not going to just swap it out really, really quickly. So when I go big, I tend to go big, and in the case of console cycles, I tend to invest early. And pay big and get the most I can out of it, right? So, I bought the original Xbox One day one, right? I got an S day one. I got an X day one. So I'm not the best person to model your life after.
Right, yeah.
Purchases, but for me, I want to enjoy this stuff now. I've already been seeing it for a long time. I want it in a console format. It's definitely there, and here's the other thing too. It's one of those things, like I was talking to Tim Dog the other day, and you can't just throw. We're at this point in graphics, right? You can't just throw something like as small as just a little bit of resolution at it, right? You have to improve every aspect of the image, right? So in the case of texture filtering, in the case of better lighting, in the case of better frame rates, better frame pacing, better texture maps, higher resolution texture maps, all that sort of stuff. You kind of have to throw all of it at a game going forward, right? Because each one of these people out here on the podcast and the people that are listening here, we're all going to pick up on different subtleties where game engines are going. They're going to get better looking, right? So you have to cast a big enough net for everyone to kind of notice something. Like, you pop in gears, every single one of you guys is going to notice something different that catches your eye, right? So that's kind of where we're at going forward. And they nailed it. It's quiet. They did everything they needed to do. It feels like the old Xbox is back for people that love that particular platform. And what's awesome, it brings competition to Sony, it brings competition to the PC side of things, and doesn't matter what category you fall into, you're all going to benefit from it at the end of the day, which is nice.
Right.
All right.
Cool. Xbox One X. Yep, it's a decent console. Hey, that's it. We're gonna move right along. Star Wars Battlefront 2. You mentioned this just a little bit. It's out on EA Access right now. Have any of you guys played it?
No, I canceled my EA Access, so I haven't dabbled into it. But I've seen great things. I mean, I've seen gameplay, and I played the beta, and I liked the beta. I mean, except for the microtransactions of the game, but I really don't ever pay attention to microtransactions because they just never appeal to me anyways. But it just I felt like Star Wars, and I'm definitely gonna pick it up. I think I'm actually gonna either buy it or Remix will buy it or whatever, and then I wish I would have had EA Access just to have the 10 free hours, but I think waiting until Tuesday or next week Friday, I think, because I think if you get like the $70 or $70 or $80 one, it's like you get it like 3 days early or something like that. But I think not having that 10-hour free is kind of getting me even more pumped, I think, for the game.
Yeah, same. I'm kind of on the same note as Optimus. I don't have EA access either, but I didn't play the beta just because it was happening when I was doing other stuff in life. So, but I've been kind of sold on Battlefront since I played it back at E3. I just really enjoyed it then. I feel like the multiplayer had things that I wanted from the original Battlefront games. And, it's Star Wars, which I really enjoy. And I don't know, it just felt like kind of more the Battlefront that I used to play. And yeah, I know there's been some talk about the microtransactions and such, but, I'm not gonna put any money into that. I'll just play along through. So yeah, I'm real hyped for the game, and definitely gonna be playing it. So.
All right, I played the. Well, go ahead, Leo.
Oh, I put some money down on it today, so about it. It involves the microtransactions, but not necessarily. I don't buy that kind of stuff. 99% of the time, but just the way the game had been designed around them, it seemed like more so than other games, to where you're getting the supply drops, and then you can spend money to get more supply drops, and the supply drops you get by playing seem to be really shitty. Only out of the beta. I mean, obviously that's not what the whole game's going to be like, but it is a good indication. So it did kind of make me worry, and then the developer kind of got some bad feedback from that. They seem to walk away from that a little bit and tweak it a little bit. So I figure why not give it a shot? It's gonna look beautiful, and I had a lot of fun doing that Starfighter mode. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it another shot.
Yeah, man, we can definitely get on that together too. But I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed the beta, and now I'm enjoying because you get full access on EA access to the multiplayer. I think you get one story mission, which I haven't played that yet. But the multiplayer is, I mean, they changed a lot from the last game. Introduced a class system. I still wish they would give you more weapons to deal with, because there's more weapons in the Star Wars universe than what you have access to. Mm-hmm. But other than that, the microtransactions was a big issue because it was tied to progression. They've changed that. So I mean, the game is really polished compared to the last one. And so far, I'm enjoying it. I've dipped in a little bit here and there. The maps that I've played so far. I've been playing the a multiplayer mode called Strike. And so the maps that I've played so far have been not as the ones that I played, but they're not as open as the last ones because Strike is kind of likened to a different mode, like they call it Drop Pod, in the previous Battlefront. Those maps seem to be a little more open. This one, I mean, the ones I've played, here lately, even on Blast, which is their team deathmatch, it's just not as open as the last one. So I guess that would be a gripe. But other than that, I mean, it's
like
pretty
it's
good.
close quarters combat, or
yeah, you just don't have as much room, in my opinion, to roam as you did like the last Battlefront. And,
which I kind of like. Like I obviously haven't played the maps, so I'd have to play them to make my own opinion. But I don't know. That could be kind of a good thing or a bad thing. I feel, depending on, because I like that like real close quarters, fast paced action like in Battlefield. Battlefield, implemented a lot more tight spaces,
Right.
and stuff. But I mean, obviously, it still has its large areas as well. So if it's kind of like that, then I think I would enjoy it. But
yeah, I feel like this time around also that the first person aspect of it feels a little bit more tighter compared to the first one because it was just a lot better to play in third person in the first one. Now I feel like I'll probably still play in third person with Battlefront 2, but I honestly feel like the at least from the beta, I feel like the first person is a little bit more tighter this time around than it was for the
I
first
prefer first person. So
little known fact, that game's actually designed around third person.
Right.
So,
it seems like it.
So
yeah.
when you kind of take a fundamental game design, the way it controls and handles and all that sort of stuff, and you change the perspective, sometimes it screws up games. Not all games, right? But when you're talking about first person and third person controls, like there's a different expectation with a first person control than you would do a third person control, and the two just don't marry very well together.
Right.
So yeah, the game was built with third person in mind. I mean, the originals were that way, right, on the older consoles. Also, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, not just real quick. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'll in the game. I'll switch in between first and third person depending on what I'm doing, like what situation I'm in.
Gotcha.
As well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it still feels great in third person. Like I was just kind of saying, like in first person this time around, it feels a lot tighter in terms of the controls compared to the first one because the first one just I didn't like the first person aspect of it at all. Even though I know it's built around the person, but I think if you're gonna have both type of aspects, then at least make them both very at least if it's not really good, don't make the first person kind of trashy and just make people want to play in third person.
Just focus on the one is what you're saying, and make that solid.
Right? Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna just make it's just I wanted to see, I guess, from the first one, I was hoping that they were gonna like tweak the controls, like a patch, but they never did. So
yeah, I kind of don't want first person controls in that game. That inherently the first one was third person. You weren't overly powerful character, right? And it was class based. And I feel like that's a little bit more true to what this one is. It's more of that class base that's built around that third person perspective. You're right, first person is better on this one. I would agree with you on that. But it still feels foreign because a modern
it still feels kind of wonky.
Yeah, because a modern day first person shooter, you're expecting iron sights and things like that, and you just don't really have that. I mean, you're looking down the barrel of the gun. You know what I mean? It's moving it, but there's no sights there, so it just doesn't feel right in that particular universe. The guns are not like that, right? So I get where they're coming from and trying to be true to the story. I just you got a good point. I'd rather have them stick to the one particular layout and just do that really, really well. Just refine that to the best that can be, so you don't have people wanting to be in that other perspective or vice versa, right?
Right.
It's so good that you don't want to even toy around with that. I think is a much better approach. So.
All right. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get on to the last topic of the night. And I want to talk about PlayStation trophies, the system that they have now that you can earn actual discounts and money and credit from earning trophies. What do you guys think about that?
Dude, I've been arguing with people about this shit all damn week. All damn week. Because you guys know I love my Chivo, so I hear this, my ears perk up because
What happened?
His ears perk up and he goes silent.
Away it goes.
I think he bought it out again. But I think
it works out sometimes.
Well, I think PlayStation trophies. I never had any interest in them at all. It's just it's just something that is just kind of like, okay, whatever. I get the whole discount in the PS Store. It's cool, but I mean, I'm never going to utilize it ever, probably, because I don't play PlayStation enough to even utilize it. I mean, I use mostly my Xbox for all my multiplats and all my exclusives. Most of the time I have my PlayStation just for its exclusives, and that's about it. So once in a while I'll get a multiplat on there just because it looks a little bit better, but that's only until I get the X, of course, probably. So
this guy starts botting too. All right, man. Yeah. My opinion of the trophies. I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's a nice little thing to put in there. You really don't get that much return, which I mean is kind of expected. I feel like there's a previous article we're reading where the numbers were different then, but anyways, you get 1 point for silver trophies, like 10 points for gold, and 100 for platinum, and 1,000 points equals $10. So I think it's a nice little return on people playing the games. I'm not a big achievement hunter, so a more casual gamer probably isn't going to have as much benefit from this, as an achievement hunter. But yeah, I think it's good to have. It also gets you, like, you're like, I get $10 off. Well, maybe I will pick up that next game, So it also benefits PlayStation. It benefits you. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it doesn't benefit me.
Draw. Well,
it does benefit you.
It's the biggest draw is that they're incentivizing you to play your games, and if you play your games, eventually you'll have enough money to buy more games from them. I think it's pretty cool, and it's smart on their part too. So I mean, it just depends on how much you play PlayStation. I mean, they have I usually play exclusives on PlayStation, and most of my multiplats, almost all of my multiplats, I play on Xbox. Now I did play a little bit more. I played some Xbox, some multiplats on PlayStation this year, just because I bought the Pro. But I'm mostly on the Xbox. But like I said, they are gonna have some pretty decent titles that drop next year that may have you playing the PlayStation more, and while you play, you'll get trophies, and then you can use those trophies. I mean, you can use those points that you get for trophies to turn in for credits to get, something else that you may have had your eye on. So I think it's a cool program to incentivize more play.
The strange thing about this, it's not strange, like funny, haha, but you can almost kind of see it happening. So obviously Sony has a new head, right? With I believe I want to say Andrew House stepping down and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who took his place, right, was head of the cloud and network services, right? And that whole business model is based on keeping you continuously engaged in a product, right?
Right.
So what does better than that than trophies? Well, if you're engaged in that product, you're more enticed to buy digital goods for that product, right? Or other digital goods on that particular platform, right? And so you're also incentivizing the customer not to buy basically hard goods, you're buying digital, which is more profitable for the companies. So all kind of feeds into one another. And that's the reason why their metrics have changed, right? So this is it's a very pro consumer move. This is how you get people to buy digital, right? Don't force them into buying digital. You incentivize them to buy digital. You make it so it's a better place to go in regards to that. So the more you play your games, the more you're engaged in that system, the more they're going to reward you, the more you're going to be tempted to buy digital goods. The more you buy digital goods, the better these games do. Maybe even be tempted to occasionally do. I know microtransactions are a dirty word. Some people like them, right? I don't like them personally myself. I don't spend my money on them, but some people actually do like them, and they would be upset if they're taken away, right? So it gets those people invested into that because not only they spend time with that, they feel like, just like anything you invest like time in, like a relationship, right? It becomes part of you a little bit, so you're willing to spend a little bit more on that experience, right? There's people that spend a ridiculous amount of money in Destiny. There's no reason to, right? But they do it, right? Because they enjoy that game, right? Now imagine if achievements were tied to it, right? And now you're going to be getting discounts on other games, and they're get tied to other games to do similar things, and so you just get part of this ecosystem. It's a very smart move from Sony's perspective. This is what competition brings, right? Microsoft has brought certain things to the table that make you buy digital goods on their platform. Now Sony's got this, right? So the answer is, what's Microsoft going to do from a year from now, right? Are they going to match? Are they going to do something better, or whatever it may be? It doesn't matter. This is competition. This is a pro-consumer move, and everyone wins. I don't see there's any loser in this whole perspective.
Right. That's it. Well said. Leo, you want to get yours out real quick? Are you back?
Damn, this internet is working against me, man. Like fucking Al Qaeda, man. It's all over me. It's screwing up my life. So, if I can say, all damn week, is the entitled ass, crying ass fucking gamers that think that Sony owes them something. Like, oh, why I got all these trophies? Why can't you just give me some money for them?
Yeah,
but they were never worth anything to begin with. They're worth whatever you put into them. I like achievement hunting. People like doing that. It's fun to get your little scores. Fun to there's different ways to play that you might not normally play. There's tons of things to do them. I never did it for Microsoft to come out of nowhere and drop $10 in my lap. It'd be nice, but they never said you could get anything for them. So now get money, which is a win-win-win. There's no downside to this whatsoever that I can see. People are still crying about it on every single comment chain, because I was getting heated about this, because I was getting more and more pissed off that these kids are crying about this shit, because I don't want them to screw it up. You get too many people crying about something, it gets taken away. That's why we can't have nice things. So I'm here arguing all over the damn place. What do you got to cry about? You're gonna keep playing games. This isn't gonna change how much games you play. And if anything, you're gonna be playing more games. You're like, maybe I'll spend an extra hour to get that platinum trophy, because I'm one away from getting that $10.
So are they frustrated because they're not getting retroactive?
Yes. Yeah. And I don't understand that, because
I didn't understand it either. That's why I had to ask. So
they weren't worth anything then. They were only worth like your enjoyment, for you to say, I got this.
Exactly.
They just became worth something when they put the policy in place.
The unfortunate thing, this is normal human reaction. Like, anytime when there's like a contest, all of a sudden people just get upset that they didn't win, right? Like, or they weren't considering winning, or or they missed some sort of coupon. It's just, when money is involved, people do get just like, I don't know, a little weird about things.
Yes,
but no, I'm right with you. I don't want that. I don't want that to be taken away from PlayStation gamers. I think that's the great incentive for sure.
All right. Any other thoughts on these trophies? Not gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the night. We'll get to these outros. I want to thank Don for coming through and gracing us with the chinchilla. And I want to say a big thank you to Leo for joining the crew, man. We appreciate that.
I love it.
So we're going to get to these outros. Don, let them know.
Well, I'm doing next podcast, I think, this Saturday. All depends on how I think Xbot's doing, but he seems like he's been doing the rounds, and every time I hear him in a party, he seems to be doing quite well. So
yeah,
he's on the mend. So, less things have changed. Look forward to that. Just follow me on Twitter. I noticed you guys put the little link below, which is I thank you guys for that. Just follow me there, and then next thing you know, when I'm doing something, I will post it on Twitter for sure, just like this podcast or any other podcast I get involved in. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. I may be on Luch's channel tomorrow. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him yet. So, but there's a good chance I might be on there too. So,
all right. Cool. Leo?
You can get me on. I finally made a Twitter, so I'm part of the crew. So I decided to jump on the bandwagon and give me a Twitter. The Yukon Corns, I'm on there arguing with people because I can't help my heart. I gotta tell people they're dumb. Or sometimes I'm like, you know what, you're not that dumb. Sometimes I'm nice, but it's fun. I'm trying to get into it. Getting a following on there, getting everybody talking about Quest. So it's fun times. So thanks for helping me on here, guys.
Yes, sir.
Dude,
Artemis?
as long as I've known you, you've never been nice. So
what are you talking about? I'm nice to you all the time, bitch.
Shit. No, but you guys can find me on Twitter at Dark Optimus. You can also find me on Xbox Live. It's the same name. And Don, appreciate you coming out tonight, man. Been trying to get you on here for a long time, and finally we were able to accomplish that goal. Also, Leo, welcome to the team, bro.
Of course.
Happy to have you on, man.
Finally.
And definitely a great show tonight.
Remix.
Definitely. Yeah, man. Great show, Don. Glad you're on as well. I know I've been talking to you for a while. And then Leo, man, yeah, glad you're part of the squad now. It'll be a lot of fun in the future podcasts to come. Anyways, for me, though, my gamer tag is Remix Essence. I have been playing some games as of late, mainly COD. Only COD right now. But I'll be playing some other games, so hit me up over probably the weekends, and we'll play some games. And other than that, I'm out.
All right.
All right, everyone.
MBanes99, I've been your host, and we are out.
Peace.
All right. Night, everyone.